you have the opportunity to impact your client's life in all aspects.
The updated weight loss specialization will help trainers in many ways expand their career.
For the first time, we talk about the psychosocial aspects, the sociocultural.
You're going to be able to truly understand what your clients are going through when they have a specific weight loss journey.
All new information, new trends.
We were able to develop what we called personas.
To provide examples of what you might experience as a fitness professional when you encounter a client.
And build confidence as the months go by.
I'll feel more comfortable in my skin.
My self-confidence will improve.
Empathy is something that runs through the weight loss specialization.
It's about guiding people.
Regarding nutrition, regarding exercise.
I can go to bed at night knowing that I've done something good for the world.
It's great content and a blueprint for how to get results with your clients.
We put together a complete solution to help you, the professional, become the next weight loss specialist.
I'm Brad Dieter.
Ken Miller.
Casey DeYoung.
Wendy Batts.
Nolan Highland.
Mike Fanagrassi.
Welcome to NASM's Weight Loss Specialization course.
Hello and happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to this We Speak episode today. My name again is Katrina Pilkington, and what we do in this series is discuss topics related to our fitness community, all about unifying our community together, not just technical stuff, but what we can do as humans uniting together for health and wellness. And today's theme is to be talking about diversifying your fitness business altogether globally. And we're going to touch on why we're going to touch on that topic in just a second. So we're going to be speaking with fitness professionals in the industry about topics related to enhancing your fitness business and how to reach more folks in your community who can be served from the services you offer as a fitness professional. So as we speak today about unifying on a global scale, the goal here is to understand that right now during this time of spatial distance, I don't like to say social distance, we want to understand that we can reach way more humans than we ever could. Everybody seems to be in somewhat of a captive state, right? And I know even for myself, as I introduce the two humans that are going to be joining me today as guests on this show, I have never been able to network and talk to so many amazing humans globally as I have in the past 18-ish months. So we want to understand that in order to reach a global community, we have to understand what impact we have on those that surround us and those that can reach us. So I'm going to introduce my guests and then we're going to bring them on with you today. So today I have Nichola Smiles as well as Tao Siolo. Tao is joining us from New Zealand. So thank you, Tao, for being here super early in the morning. I will go ahead and do a quick bio to introduce my amazing friends, and then we're going to dive into just some dialogue and conversation. Good morning and afternoon, everyone. Yes.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wherever you are. So Nichola has been a group fitness instructor for about 10 years, just like myself, and as a Les Mills presenter. She has certified for 3 years with Body Pump, Grit, Body Combat, and CX Works, which are some of my favorite formats that I miss so much. She is a University of Houston alumni with a Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering. So smart. Like, I envy that of you. She balances her corporate life and life as a single mother of her amazing son. And as a fitness instructor, she loves to provide a healthy escape for participants so they can walk out feeling a little bit better and stronger, especially now. So welcome, Nichola. Good morning. Well, morning.
It's morning. Yes, it's still morning, 11.
I'm going to get my life together. I actually had to speak to a group of high school girls this morning at 7 my time. So my brain is like, all over the place. And then we have Tao here, who it's 6 a.m. where you are. Thank you so much for being here. He's a national group fitness manager for Les Mills in New Zealand, and he has been a group fitness instructor for almost 20 years as part of the national trainer team for 12 with the same formats: Body Pump, Grit, Body Combat, Body Jam, CX Works. And I've never heard of Shabam, but maybe you can educate me on that. He's attended the Victoria University of Wellington, graduating with a Bachelor of Commerce and Administration, majoring in Marketing and Management. And he enjoys his time as a father of 2 wonderful girls and spending time with his wife and family. He has a passion for performance and creating a positive, uplifting, empowering experience through workouts and through fitness classes for other humans. So welcome, Tao.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank y'all for being here so much. And I just want, to give a couple of minutes to each one of you of how did you land in this fitness space? I love hearing how humans ended up here. You can do paper, scissors, rock. Like, you go first.
I'll go first. I started when I'd always actually been into fitness when I was in well, I wouldn't say it was fitness. I was into sports and high school. And then when I graduated, I went to college, and then I was in a very demanding degree program, and I kept on yo-yoing and gaining weight. And then it wasn't until after I graduated college that I noticed that I had surpassed the whole freshman 15 and went to a freshman 60. Right. And then I started slowly getting into group fitness. And then my group X instructor that I normally would go to her classes every Sunday convinced me, hey, you should be an instructor. And that was the time that my club was actually starting to bring in Les Mills. And that's when I was first introduced to Les Mills, and I got certified in body pump. And 10 years later, here we are. So it was more about, the beginning of my journey was about me, and then eventually started becoming about other people.
That's awesome. And that's how you have so much passion for it, right? You see what it's done in your life, and you're like, wow, what could it do for other humans? That's amazing.
Exactly.
What about you, Tao?
Yeah, so a similar kind of journey actually to you, Nichola. I started off at high school playing rugby, and while I did rugby, I was studying music at the same time. So I used to sing in a barbershop quartet and in a choir, and I loved musical theater. So as I left high school and started attending university, I continued to play rugby, and then started going to the gym that was close by, which happened to be a Les Mills club in Wellington. And as I was doing my workouts and dropping into a group fitness class, which wasn't typical for someone who played rugby to attend the group classes, I found complete freedom. At first it was a little apprehension, and then I was like, man, this is awesome. The volume of training. I loved combat. That was my first program. So body combat was the first program that I did. And as I had progressed from high school, I had aspirations of being a performer in some form or in some shape. And I was approached by one of the instructors that came down after, a couple of weeks of me attending the class and saying, hey, would you like to give it a go? Right. And that was the first conversation that I ever had that kind of kicked off this new arc of my career. I did other jobs and had other career aspirations, but this group fitness kind of little side passion of mine, which combined music and movement together, which was the perfect combo. Right. It allowed me to perform. Turned into what's now my full-time career and a long career thus far, 17 years teaching classes and then progressing to be a trainer and all that. And like you, Nichola, at first it was for me, I enjoy performance. I love music and movement. And then I realized the impact that I could have. And it just happened to be with Les Mills Group Fitness. Yeah. Right.
That's awesome. And I talked about that with that group of girls this morning. What does your intention mean versus what does your impact mean? And I think for all three of us, we can have that common bond of we had our own story, our own reason for getting into group fitness. And I know even for myself, I'm sure you two can relate and dive into this topic. But I was training at first and I had a personal trainer, and I even, I'm an NASM certified personal trainer myself. But especially now being spatially disconnected, I have a very hard time feeling motivated, and thinking about the words group fitness and having that community to do life with me has made a world of difference. Do you notice that now as Team Les Mills, even as we're in this virtual space, how different it is for needing community globally?
Absolutely. Nichola, do you want to speak to that one, particularly where you're at?
Yes, it's super. I realized that with everything going on, I had a big community of people that came to my classes for years. Mm-hmm. And I made sure there was a point to still communicate with them. I have a Facebook group with my classes, my Nichola Saturday double or my Nichola Sunday double. And every weekend at the time that we would normally meet, I actually still connect with them. And I was like, hey, what are you doing? Because in some sort of way that we still feel like we're doing the same workout, we're still connected, but we truly miss each other. Right. I'm not as motivated when I'm not around people, but I still got discipline to still keep the workout going. But as long as I check in with people on a regular basis, especially the people that came to my classes on a regular basis, there is a bit of accountability that we are still connected in a certain way. If based on my recommendation, do body combat, 65 or do body pump 108. So there is that connection there.
Right. Yeah. And for anybody watching live, you can feel free to comment and ask questions of my guests or questions about the topics we're presenting. But I definitely agree with that it's not just teaching the class at that time on that day. It's the connectivity that you create with your groups between that time that helps. What about yourself, Tao?
I agree. The first moment that New Zealand had to go into our lockdown situation, we had to pivot very quickly, just like the rest of the world, in terms of how do we retain and how do we build that network and communication and connection without having the close physical distance that we were used to. And so, just like you guys, like when we were talking about Facebook groups, Instagram, making sure that you have that FaceTime and connection beyond just the streamed workout or, the on-demand offering that you have.
Right.
We're super blessed here in New Zealand. Like we've been able to pull together, like we don't have any COVID in our community, and we haven't for quite some time now. So we are able to go back into, like, if you see any pictures from New Zealand, we are attending festivals with our gyms are back together. So we're kind of living, in a space where sometimes it doesn't feel real here in New Zealand. We're always very mindful about it because we can see what's happening across the globe, and we have to be so careful at the borders. And it is a virus; it will spread, very quickly if given the opportunity. But also, we are very blessed, and I think there's a couple of options now for us that we pivot back to online and make sure we retain the learnings and retain that connection via, social media. I think this is a really powerful thing because even now that I'm speaking to you, I feel super connected to you and whoever's watching. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point, because I know that even as, I moved to a new state soon, and I'm a little nervous because every state has had different guidelines. I'm a little terrified. I've been in this little California bubble where we don't really do a whole lot, but many folks are going to have that trepidation of getting into physical spaces. I know that you also teach, Nichola, in person. I can use that in quotes now. But what difference, to Tao's point, what difference do you see in the audience of the diversity of humans that you have seen before, like when it was only in person, to now where virtual is just a part of our everyday need to offer folks?
With me, it's just really hard to see who compared to what I used to see before. In my classes, I used to have large crowds, but I was always pretty fortunate to have a diverse group of people, where I remember when I first got certified in pump, I remember my trainer said that we really want to see a lot more male participants. So I was pretty lucky to always see male and women, male and female, different age demographics, race demographics. And then now it's in the classes, especially on the online platform, it's hard to see people. I don't even see people. I just see, because some of the classes that I've done virtually, I have been on one side, but I just don't even know who's taking the class at all. And then when I do teach in person right now, it's definitely not the same energy. And I hope that answers your question, but it
makes sense. It's hard to see for sure, and I'm sure Tao can touch on this, of who's going to still hang around virtually versus who wants to really get in there. What are you seeing with that, Tao? Or is it like the same amount of humans, different type of people, or like, I'm going to stay virtual?
At first, there was definitely trepidation about attending a class again. People were worried about coming through to the gym, and we had to put in some pretty strict protocols around where you could be. With regard to diversity, what we did here in New Zealand was we were able to broadcast across national television our Lesmos Group Fitness classes, and that really opened up accessibility to group fitness, particularly that we could offer. And I think the benefit from that was attending a gym can sometimes put, in certain communities, for sure, there's not enough economic resource, they may not be able to afford to go to a Lesmos club, or we're only in major centers and not in some of the communities that probably need us more. So I think it's been great in some respect that we could broadcast it live across the country to all communities, but also through Instagram, as long as you have a phone connection, and you have an Instagram account, which has pretty much been democratized to everybody, then you could have attended these classes. And now the challenge will be ongoing is how do we, and my passion is how do we still continue to encourage and break down the barriers of economic disparity or even racial or, all kinds of different diversity that's holding people back from attending, having fun with fitness. You know what I mean? Knowing that fitness can be fun and is inclusive.
Right. I agree. And to Nichola's point, sometimes on Instagram, it's like, I don't know hi everybody, like who's watching. But, to your point, we have to, and I said this last week in my episode where I spoke with people from our team in India and how many folks can't even access spaces electronically or online or access even Wi-Fi. So for fitness professionals to really take this time to say, okay, what do I want to serve in my community as far as what can I offer? Who is in my community that is in my demographic that I want to help, not just who I can help, who I want to help, and finding some sort of way to give back to your community using social guidelining rules, social distancing rules in your community or your location, but also understanding the impact of who you can reach globally. Anybody typically can access Instagram if they have a phone and like access to online. So realizing, okay, even for myself, I have a way different following now than I did a year ago on social. And it could be because I'm extremely honest and very open now about a lot of my topics that are passionate to me. But I want to be aware of that and know what power I have in my reach, not just teach a class because I like to do it and it's what I've always done. It's time to really get uncomfortable. I don't know if you agree with that. That makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I was going to say that I think it's always important, especially in the climate that we are in, is to really take an inventory of who is around you or who people that take your classes, or are you really reaching out to people, or have you just noticed that you've pretty much been complicit to this idea that, everything is okay? It's so important to just be deliberate in reaching out to other people, because not everybody has the same equity when it comes to fitness. Likes to say, fitness is actually a luxury, and we don't even realize that. So it's just very important to be honest. I think to be honest, don't just go with this diversity thing is cool because it's trendy. Really take an inventory of what you're putting out there and how are you being more inclusive to your audience, or to more people in your audience.
It's like we think the same way. Like literally, that's what I hope that folks get from this particular show specifically, is that you were championed with being a fitness professional. That could either be a title or it can be a purpose-filled calling that you have in your community. And that community is very broad right now. We are, all connected in this call right now. I don't think there's ever a time we probably would have all maybe hung out we didn't know, how cool is that we can connect in this space? So remembering that as a fitness professional, whether you teach or train, that you can really move mountains in people's lives. And, and to Tao's point, talking about folks just wanting a sense of community and, people that take your class, Nichola, now on Saturdays, it's like the goals have changed too, right? I'm not sure if you've noticed this in your students, but the goals are different. They're not, I want to be in this bikini by the summer because I have a wedding in November or whatever. It's, I want to stay sane. I want to make it through this week with a smile on my face and get through the ick that I see around me, right?
Or just want to escape their house.
Yeah. I wish, it's hard. Just using that hour as a moment, or whatever the amount of time is, using those moments in time as a life-changing moment in time for other people, and realizing just how broadly you can expand your reach and the power of your impact, because you could have the most well-meaning intention of just teaching a class twice a week, but the impact of that class could be, insurmountable if you look at it that way, for sure. What do you two see as being kind of the scope for what we should expect fitness professionals to do, even in, I don't know, next 6 months, next 12 months, to do things differently?
That's a really good question. And depending on what situation we're in environmentally, like if we are able to open up, I think regardless if we're locked down or opened up, it's still going to be really important for us to create that sense of community. And if I kind of touch on what Nichola said, like Les Mills has come out with some very bold statements about what they want to do with regards to including and being a lot more diverse and creating equity. And it will be on us and myself. Like, I'm a national manager. I guide group fitness for all of New Zealand. It's how I walk as well. So it can't just be some corporate, trend that we're now going diverse, because that's really important to people now. So we'll just copy that. I know where it comes from. I was part of those early discussions, the genesis of it, the real raw, honest, hard, emotional discussions. And I know that the intention is from the right place, and it just has to be led by people who believe and have the influence to create that environment. And that's what I've tasked upon myself and my other, leaders, to show that diversity and to be that. And I think that for fitness professionals, my point of view, especially for us as leaders, that's what we want to role model over the next 6 months, inclusive of all of the community building and training that we do as well.
Right. Yeah. And the biggest thing I want folks to understand is that for someone to see themselves in the group that they see out doing fitness or being represented is important. Representation matters, which is why we are all here in this space. That's one of my goals, is to be a face for someone to feel like they can feel included and they belong, they're safe. So understanding that as this is our role and our job, it's also our responsibility to keep that in diversity going so that folks can see that it's not just a possibility for them to get fit or get well or to be happy through a group fitness class, but also that, positions like the three of us hold are possible, that you can actually have a career in fitness and that it can be very inclusive as long as you continuously grow and you keep yourself in that growth mindset of wanting to keep these skills at the forefront, especially when it comes to, what I see now with conferences and when I do some speaking, which both of you do as well. Yes, it's important for us to do sessions about the classes we teach. But what are some thoughts you two have about what are some skills and resources that folks should think about using right now with this specific topic of diversification of their fitness business?
I think it's important, no matter what, is to do your research and educate yourself. And where do you feel like you are lacking? And how do you, exactly like you said, have this growth mindset that you're open to learning new things? Because again, it's like I go back to taking inventory of what of the people around you. So what I think a good way to do that is, social media is such a great platform. So maybe you should connect with some really big, influencers, right? That have an audience that are diverse, and maybe connect and partner with them, and that would actually help you to learn more about different cultures, or just learn, have a different mindset, just change the way you're thinking. So people have to step out of their comfort zone. Well, a lot of this is about having uncomfortable conversations. Is that about feeling, you might feel awkward. It's like, oh, I don't know that, people like, oh, they're not that, I don't hang out with those group of people, but maybe it's the time to start to hang out with a different group of people. So it's just getting uncomfortable and being really deliberate in your actions.
Yeah. I mean, diversifying your business first starts with diversifying yourself, right? And I talk about this because I do teach about implicit bias and all those kinds of diversity, equity, and inclusion topics that I brought together from corporate and my past experience, but it's uncomfortable. I mean, nobody wants to sit there and look introspectively and say, oh my gosh, I have this opinion about this group of humans, or where did this thought come from? Or I have this stereotype, but we're all good humans. Our brains work in a way that compartmentalizes information in sometimes a way that doesn't make sense, but to Nichola's point, find resources, get through that uncomfortable growth. And as a human, you yourself will now be able to impact more people, right? What about yourself, Tao?
For me, it's, I think where I have the control is, we put on workshops, so quarterly workshops. We still have those where all of the Les Mills instructors come in and do some kind of education and upskilling and do the master classes together. We have that fortunate opportunity here in New Zealand. So in that position, is, like I said before, when we do introduce education topics or even selecting presenters to get up and deliver these workshops, we don't limit it to just here in New Zealand. We don't limit it to just the TAP team, the trainer, assessor, presenter team. Actually, we use local clubs, and we offer spots for local instructors to step up and present at that stage. Now, the thing that I want to do, that I have tasked myself with, is to, in that selection process, take people on the journey of having a diverse presenter team, whether it's racial diversity, neurodiversity, gender, all of that, that mix. Like you said, representation is so important. Now, I know people, the counter question that people say is, are they still going to be skilled at what they do? Which is, it's a fallacy. I really hate it when you try and do moves like, you try and put forward things like this, and people say, well, it's about your competency. It's not about diversity of race or gender. And what I'd like to do is have that conversation with them to say, I agree. We all want to, be inspired by those who are great. We just got to open up what greatness looks like. It's not just the narrow view of, a great body or physique or just tech. In fact, people have so many different skills and strengths that they bring into our community. And that's where we have a gap right now. We're usually picking the fittest, the fastest, and the most aesthetically pleasing, natural. That's kind of the perception for fitness, right? You want, the fitness role model on stage, but that looks different now. It should be different. It is different. We haven't highlighted that. So that's my job. That's my responsibility.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I make jokes sometimes. Like behind a screen, the whole six pack, getting lean, losing the COVID-19, like all that, it doesn't matter. Like right now, we're just trying to stay sane and stay connected as a community, and we have to change that aesthetic. We have to change that narrative. And I really, like I said, it's uncomfortable to learn about your biases and break all that stuff down. But in order for you to impact more humans, it's important that you start with yourself. And to Nichola's point, there's many of us in the industry that are open to having conversations. I get DMs all the time with questions, and no question is a dumb question sometimes. No question that's asked is a dumb question. You have to ask the question, have the conversation. And I'm really big too about iron sharpens iron. If you surround yourself with honest, authentic humans who want to see you succeed, but will tell you the truth when you don't want to hear it, and also help diversify your thought because they might think polarly different from you, that's how you grow. You don't grow by staying in your comfortable lane with the same school of thought. And that's also how you can pivot, for lack of a better term, your business during this time, right? So I also want to give folks a chance to connect with you on social media. If you guys want to share your handles, if you want.
Yes, mine is at Fitter Smiles, Fitter Smiles, my last name.
On Instagram.
Instagram.
That's how I connected with both of you, is Instagram. So thanks, social media.
Yeah, and mine's at Siolo, so at Tausiolo, like my name. You can see it at the bottom there. Yeah, at Siolo, and you can absolutely connect with me anytime.
Perfect. And I'll be on Facebook as this goes live on Facebook. I'll be on there answering questions if I see any in the commentary, but this will be shared on other social media channels as well. And I just want to say, I know it's 30 minutes. It flies by, and I hate that, but we are all connected, and I'm grateful for both of you. Thank you, Nichola and Tao, for being here with me today.
I really thank you for the invitation and the opportunity. I really enjoyed it. So, and it's great seeing you, Tao, again.
I know, right?
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And Nichola, and at some point, we will get to work together, even though the work for Les Mills, we haven't had an opportunity. And I know I'll keep connected with all three of you. I absolutely love what you're doing. So thank you for the chance this morning.
Absolutely. And thank you again for taking the time. I mean, I think you're probably going to stay up and maybe work out or something since you're up versus going back to sleep like I would do at 6 a.m.
Yeah, no. My daughters will be up soon, so I'll make breakfast and then get the day ready, back to work and all that. So yeah.
So just know, everybody watching us, that we are humans just like yourself. We are everyday people, and we just want to connect and have these conversations that sometimes can be uncomfortable, but they are meant to help you be innovative and grow as a fitness professional and also in your fitness business. So thank you for joining us here on this episode of We Speak. And next week, we'll have another conversation all about us unifying as a fitness community. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.